Mr. Rush had not worked from the date of the publications until the date of the trial. Fifth, on the basis of my assessment of the expert evidence in relation to Mr. Rush's prospects going forward, Mr. Rush was unlikely to receive any real offers of work until at least 12 months after the vindication of his reputation by this judgment. After that time, Mr. Rush will begin receiving offers again, though initially at a lesser rate than he did before the publications. My assessment on all of the evidence was that he will receive offers at 50% of the previous rate for the period between 12 and 18 months after vindication, and offers of 75% of the previous rate for the period between 18 and 24 months after vindication. Thereafter, Mr. Rush will receive offers at more or less the same rate as he did previously. On one view, that is an optimistic finding as to the future, but my reasons for arriving at those findings are set out at length in my reasons. Sixth, I formed the view that I require further assistance and submissions from the parties before arriving at a final figure quantifying Mr. Rush's economic loss. I propose in due course to make procedural orders to facilitate a further short hearing with a view to finalising all outstanding issues, including the quantification of Mr. Rush's economic loss, as I've just said, the question whether the injunction sought by Mr. Rush in his application should be made, whether there should be any interest on the judgment amount, and who should pay the costs of the proceeding and on what basis. The matter will be listed for a further case management hearing for the purposes of making such procedural orders. Before I make the orders, can I emphasise once again that what I have just read and what will be available is no more than a summary of my judgment. I would simply ask this, that before you judge my judgment, as it were, as you will and are no doubt entitled to do, perfectly entitled to do, I ask that you read my judgment so that you can fully appreciate the reasons. As I said, that is the only official record of the court's reasons for arriving at those findings. The orders of the court are as follows. 1. Verdict and judgment be entered for the applicant. 2. The respondents pay the applicant damages for non-economic loss, including aggravated damages, assessed at $850,000. 3. The assessment of special damages for economic loss suffered by the applicant be reserved for further consideration. 4. The matter be listed for a case management hearing at 9:30 a.m. on 10 May 2019 for the purposes of making procedural orders for the determination of all outstanding issues, including the assessment of special damages for economic loss, injunctive relief, costs and interest. I publish my reasons. Adjourn the court, please.
Stand. The court is now adjourned.